Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat. Delighted to be joined by heavyweight Nick Campbell, head of his fourth professional fight on the 13th of November in Belfast. Nick, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it's a bit late in the day, so really appreciate your time. How's things with you at the moment?
Yeah, all good. Just obviously fights 3 weeks yesterday, so just getting ready for that. Plenty of preparation, training this morning. Pretty chilled out there other than that. So I'm full camp mode just now and training away and getting ready for the fight coming up.
Oh, fantastic. Serious stuff. So I know you just turned pro this year. I think one thing that's interesting about your career is that you fought in, this is going to be like the fourth different country you've fought in during your time as a pro, if you kind of count Northern Ireland and England as different countries. But just wanted to ask, like, what's that been like? I think most people would kind of just stick in their hometowns the first four fights, or certainly wouldn't leave their home countries. So what's it been like kind of going to different countries and fighting in different places?
Obviously I turned professional at the start of this year, but I was an amateur before that for 4 years after leaving rugby. So I had quite a bit of experience travelling around with Scotland and stuff like that to different countries, Russia, Thailand, Lithuania, just like a couple off the top of my head. So I'm kind of used to being in different environments and being exposed to different, types of arenas and stuff like that. So yeah, just take it in my stride. But what other job would you have that you get to go and travel the world and get to experience a little bit of everybody's culture? So I think it's a great thing. I love it. And fighting away at the start of your career is good as well. It prepares you for maybe what's to come, hopefully down to the latter part or the latter stages of your career. So it's all an experience and I relish it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an advantage. And I wanted to ask you, I feel like your story about transitioning from rugby to boxing has been well documented. I feel like kind of a lot of us know that part of you. But I kind of wanted to ask, turning pro in your 30s, I know kind of you're still young for a heavyweight, and I know you're certainly not old at all. But do you feel any sort of pressure for having to kind of perhaps move quickly to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish in the sport in a shorter space of time than perhaps you would have done if you turned pro at the age of 24, 25?
Yeah, potentially. Obviously, there's always going to be different time constraints in me because I'm not going to have as long as somebody who is 24, 25. But I don't really feel much pressure, if you know what I mean. I came into this with a game plan, to be in the sport for 6, 7, 8 years and get in and out. So if I don't achieve what I want to achieve, I'll give it my best shot and I'll go as far as I can. But I came into this with a game plan. I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. So I'm just going to enjoy it as much as possible, get as much experience as I can. And like I say, ideally, I'll be hanging around in the pro game for about 6 years and then cash my checks in and get out.
Yeah, no, fantastic. And I think I just wanted to say about your time as a pro so far, 3 fights, 3 KOs, obviously kind of all heavyweights can whack a bit. We know that. But are you expecting to continue to win fights by KO as you kind of go up the levels and face different opposition, or would it not be a surprise if you start to win fights on points, perhaps?
I think it would be pretty disrespectful as you move up the levels to go and expecting to KO guys. I think our way anybody can KO anybody at any time because it's the nature of the division. But I don't go into any fight expecting to knock anybody out quickly. I just go in there with my game plan. I stick to my game plan, and whenever the opportunity arises for that knockout, I'll grab it with both hands. But definitely moving up through the levels, it's going to be harder to stop guys. The guy I'm fighting next, Manev, he's been in with Solomon Dakers and is it David Adelaide in his last 2 fights. I think Adelaide stopped him in the 4th, and I think Dakers took him over the 6 rounds. So I'm expecting a much tougher night.
Yeah.
It will give me an idea of where I'm at. But like I said, I'm going in there with a game plan to deal with him. And if the opportunity arises to stop him, I'll be looking to take him out. So, I've got respect for my opponent. But yeah, I'm going in there to do a professional job, put on a good performance. Yeah. And like I said, if the opportunity comes to stop him, I'll be looking to do that as well.
Yeah, this might be a bit of an annoying question, but do you find, what do you make of people who think that if say you stop this guy in 2 rounds, whereas Adelaide stops him in 4 rounds, Do you think that makes a statement, or do you think that's just how the fight's gone? That maybe he's approached you differently to how he did against his fight against David Adelaide. What do you think about those sort of comments?
No two fights are the same.
Yeah.
Everybody, styles make fights. Different guy. Like, to be honest with you, I'm a lot bigger than David Adelaide and Solomon Dakers. So if I can get in there and use my height, my size, my weight advantages, I might wear them out quicker than they did. So who knows? But like I say, it's the styles that make the fights. I'm expecting a longer fight this time. Probably go past the second, third round. So like I say as well, though, I don't really compare myself to anybody else because we're all on our own journey.
Yeah.
We're on our own path of development. So I'm just looking to go in there and put in a good performance and see what happens. So yeah.
Fantastic. And final question on you, really, Nick. What you've spoken about, kind of your journey and your game plan, like being in the sport for a few years as a pro. Can I ask anything about that kind of plan? Like, do you know where you want to be in, say, a year's time in regards to any titles, or what you want your record to be in a year's time? Can I ask anything just about your game plan at all?
I kind of said at the start of the year, my goal was to try and get to 4-5-0 by the end of this year. The following year after that, the goal again is to try and get another 4-5 fights. So hopefully in a year's time, I'll be around 8, 9, 10-0. In terms of titles, I'm not really one to look at that. I know that the Scottish heavyweight title has not been contested for a while, and there's 3 active there is 3 Scottish heavyweights kicking about. So if one of them fancy dusting up for the Scottish title, then we could arrange that. But other than that, I'm just looking to keep developing and see what happens. So, like I say, 8, 9, 10-0. If there was a Scottish title opportunity and either of those lads fancy it, then that could be a great fight. Good spectacle, see what happens. But yeah, other than that, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, no, exciting time. And they're looking forward to continuing to follow your journey for sure. Just quickly, just wanted to ask about the Dillian Whyte situation. Now, obviously he's a fellow heavyweight, supposed to fight Otto Wallin next weekend. That's now not happening due to an injury. What do you make of him? Kind of, I don't want to say fast tracking because he's earned his spot, but fighting Fury in his next fight rather than giving Wallin the fight that was agreed. And what do you kind of make of his chances against Fury in, say, 5-6 months' time?
Question. You know what? Dillian Whyte's been there or thereabouts now for about the past 3 years, hasn't he? I think he's been in that mandatory position for at least 2 years. And obviously with the politics and the different belts and the different organisations, he's not quite got his shot. Just seems a shame, now he had this one fight, he's guaranteed the next fight against Fury, and he's obviously injured himself, which, I know there's a lot of Wallin's camp want to know the ins and outs, but I don't believe a guy like Dillian Whyte would be pulling out the fight unless he really had to. But yeah, in terms of him he was supposed to fight Wallin, so they should really fight, and I don't think he'll have an issue fighting him. He'll fight anybody. So yeah. I'd like to see that fight happening, and if it doesn't happen, he probably does deserve his shot at Fury anyway. Yeah. So it's one of those, it's a bit over my head. I'm just here to train and fight. So whatever the governing bodies decide and the important people decide's up to them. But either way, I think if he fights Wallin, good. If he gets to fight Fury, good. And in terms of his chances against Fury, to be honest with you, can't see anybody that beats him.
Okay.
I think he's too good at this moment in time for any other heavyweight out there. Having said that, it's the heavyweight division. It only takes one shot. So who knows? Whyte's just came out and said that he's seen stuff in the last fight against Wilder that he thinks Fury's slowing down, which I'm sure Tyson will appreciate. So I think it's an interesting time ahead in the division. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. And I think it's an interesting 6, 7, 8 months ahead to see where this goes. Yeah, absolutely. There's so much to talk about. But I think at the end of the day, we just want to see these guys fight each other. We want to see the trend of Joshua Usyk and Fury Wilder and Whyte being in the mix as well, hoping that kind of continues into 2022. Well, Nick, I know it's a bit late. I don't want to kind of take up too much of your time. As you said, off camera, you're kind of in camp mode at the moment. But no, really appreciate your time.
And yeah, did you want to add anything ahead of November 13th?
No, just give me a follow on my social media platforms. It's the same handle for each. It's Nick, the letter A, Campbell, Nick A Campbell 1. You'll find me on Insta and Twitter. Keep up to date with everything going on. Thanks for your time, and I hope everybody enjoys it that tunes in and has a watch.
Fantastic. All right. Well, all the best for next month, Nick. And yeah, it would be good to catch up again soon.
Thank you. Speak to you soon.
Cheers, mate. All the best.